Okay, all right. I think we're live. Hey,
Hi.
everyone. Just gonna be tuning in. Here we are, and we're I guess a little later than what I had planned. So I used to do it 7 p.m. Central Time, and then we are now up in our northern Alberta home, and I'm on Mountain Time, so I decided to do 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then, well, there's just a little confusion. Well, that's between her time difference, my guest, and mine. And so, but anyway, here we are, and we're excited about what she's going to share in all. And I hope several of you will come on and watch it now or later. And so, Stefanie, I just want to welcome you this evening to my show. And yeah, how are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. Thanks so much for having me.
That's oops, sorry, don't okay, that's good. Oh, so if you can tell us a bit about your family's Stephanie, and yeah, we'll just go from there.
Sure. My name is Stephanie Potts. I live outside Chicago, Illinois. Married to my husband, Luke. We are
Okay.
14 years. We
Yeah.
have 4 children, ranging from 11 to my youngest just turned 4. It's been quite a journey that I did not expect, and kind of a turn of events in my life that I think really kind of led me to this point.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. And then you have a book that you've written.
I
So
do.
is that from kind of what you mentioned? Okay.
Yes. I grew up mom, dad, and me and my brother, just the two of us. So I had kind of planned that that's how my life was going to be. I was gonna have 2 kids, and that was my norm. But God had
Mhm.
other plans, and we now have our 4 children. But along the way of each of my pregnancies, there was kind of a odd trend that I noticed, and because my oldest is a chunk of time older than my younger 3. He was well aware of what was going on around us and things that people were saying. And it kind of enlightened me. So it's interesting what our kids teach us. But I originally
Mhm.
started my first book. My first book is called On My Way, a love letter
Okay.
from your new baby. And where this came from, really, when I was finally pregnant with my second one. I had a really hard time getting pregnant for my first one and my second one.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
told my mother, I told her, my brother and I are 5 years apart. I told her I would never let that happen to my kids, but God had other plans, and my oldest 2 are 4.5 years apart. But in that, my by degree, I'm a teacher. I have a teaching degree.
Okay. Yeah.
And so when you want to help a child with a new experience, what great thing you do is you read them a story. You read them a story about what the changes are going to be, what their life is going to be like. And I read, I think, every Big Brother book that I could find, possibly. Some of them, did a nice job explaining, like, oh yeah, babies are great, and it's going to be nice to
Mhm.
have a baby in the family, but you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to help mom get a diaper. You might have to find a passy. You're going to have to be patient. But some of them were downright, I could not believe that people would read these to their children, because they were talking about, it almost made this baby inanimate object coming into the family,
Mhm.
and created
Mhm.
animosity. You're
Mhm.
you're the center of the world. You have to wait. You have to be patient. Like, it didn't really. There weren't a lot of good things presented about the baby, and it just talked
Yeah.
about it. And I was really hoping for some kind of book that discussed the relationship between the siblings. And the
Mhm.
only one that I found discussed that the big sister despised the baby brother coming into the family until the baby brother was old enough for her and the baby brother to team up against mom and dad. I'm sorry. You
Oh.
just teach your child by reading them that book. We'll be surprised
Oh
how
man.
our children pick up on,
Mhm.
what stories we're sharing with them. We think that, it's just funny and sarcastic, but they don't get that. They're not at the
Mhm.
emotional level to understand that.
Mhm.
So what are we creating? So
Yeah.
I wrote my book. It's a love letter from the new baby, and the baby is in the mother's womb kind of essentially writing to the big brother, big sister, saying that they're so excited to join this family. They're so excited
Mhm.
to learn and grow from their big brother, big sister. That they love them already. That there's relationship. It does still kind of explain, sometimes I'm gonna need a pacifier, sometimes I'm gonna need a
Mhm.
diaper. You're gonna have to help mom, but I'm
Mhm.
really looking forward to this, and I can't wait to have that relationship with you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's neat and like really different from those other books you described. And I know what you mean. We've read books too where it makes it sound like a new baby's inconvenience and not really something to be really look forward to with joy, and that it's going to really add to the family and some
Yeah.
books. Wow.
So I
Okay. So you, I'm
hope.
sorry.
Funny thing was, but I say it's God coincidence, like God created it. I came up with the book probably about 2 weeks before my second was born. I had this story kind of in my mind, and it would wake me up every morning, like really early in the morning. And I'd be like, oh, that's really nice, but I'm not an author. And I went back to bed. And I
Mhm.
mean, for like
Oh,
7 days straight, it woke me up. And then finally, like on the seventh day, I woke up and I went downstairs to my computer, and I was so irritated. I was just like frustrated. I was like, oh, here's this book, and just get it out of my mind because I just want to get to sleep because I'm going to have this baby. And I'm just furious. And I get it
yeah.
out. I put it in my computer, and I thought that was the end of it. It's out.
Yeah.
I can
There.
sleep,
You done
and I
it.
got sleep. I had a baby, and we had everything was great. Then I got pregnant with my third son pretty quickly. I say that I prayed so hard for number two that God just sent three and four because they came really fast. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
uh,
wow. Yeah.
so I was such a blessing. Love them. But I was pregnant with number three, and I was like, oh man, like I really should have done something with that book because what a great opportunity. Like I could have used it now. There's other people that
Yeah.
could use it. And so
Yeah.
I played around a little while. I sent my manuscript off to a couple of publishers, and I thought, if this was really a gift from God, God's going to make it happen. He is going to have some publisher think that it's just the greatest thing, and they're going to pick it up and they're going to publish it, and that's going to be the end of it. Um, but I didn't get not one response. Then I was like, well, I'll
Mhm.
see about like some of these independent publishers. So I reached out to some of these
Mhm.
independent publishers, and they like, talk to you and tell you how wonderful your book is, and it's only going to cost like $15,000. I'm like, no, I just can't.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, no.
so I kind of put it aside again, and then I got pregnant with my fourth, and again I was just kind of like, gosh, like what a waste, what a waste. I could have used
Mhm.
again.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
But in that time, I connected with a new startup Christian publishing company, and they said like we'd really like to work with you on this, and they wound up
Mhm.
publishing, and it actually was published on the same day that my fourth child was born. So I think
Oh, wow.
that's such like God saying, good and faithful servant. Like that to me was
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So
That's neat. I mean, that wouldn't really be a coincidence. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Well, I was gonna say, so you didn't really consider the self-publishing option? Uh,
Well, I was poorly informed on self-publishing. I really kind of thought like, oh well, people that can't be published, um,
mhm.
self-publishing, and the self-publishing books that I've seen, especially in the teaching realm,
Mhm.
really aren't that impressive. I have since
Mhm.
learned otherwise. Some people do a fantastic job self-publishing,
Mhm.
and there are some amazing self-published books out there. But at the time, I just didn't know any better.
Mhm.
So, but I was supposed to be connected with that publisher too. There
Yeah.
was
Yeah. No, it's we
there was a there
gotta
was a
talk about. Yeah, it sounds like for sure. But yeah, self-publishing is getting to be more of a thing. I think more common. There's lots of self-publishing options, and that's the route I went with mine. I've got five now, and the first ones I know I didn't do too well on my own, but it was kind of blog to book, and I just wanted to put it together. And my last one is the story of we lost our son and that I have out there, and yeah, it's a lot to to carry the load of writing it, editing, like the whole bit.
It
It
can be
was not,
so.
for me that worked, but hmm
Yeah.
but that's good. Um, so where are you kind of in your? Do you have what other kind of like ministry stuff do you got going on along with
I
the
have
book and?
but they're not published yet. I have some other books in the publishing process. Um,
Okay, too.
yeah,
Okay.
I have several children's books. I think I have 4 in the publishing process. I have 2 more uh,
Oh wow.
that I haven't submitted quite yet, but they're
Yeah.
almost finished. And then I have my first adult book, so I'm pretty excited about that one as well.
Oh, so and it is with this publishing company then
Yeah,
that is doing it for you. Okay, it's a Christian publishing company.
yeah.
You said. Oh wow.
So their adult division is called Coleman Jones Press, and their
Mhm.
division is called Honey Drop Kids Club.
Oh okay. Oh neat. That's good. So they've just like are good for working with like newer authors that ain't say as well known, which
Yeah,
is
they're
good.
really almost like a hybrid publisher.
Hmm.
They help you self-publish, and
Hmm.
have connections um,
Hmm.
at a good price. Because I
Yeah.
know self-publishing can get expensive, especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's good. So how long? When did you put this book out? Is-
this first book came out in 2020.
Oh, okay. So you've had it out for a while, and I hadn't heard of it till now. But it's because it sold a lot. Then it's really went out.
Yeah, I've had a good turnout over the years. I mean, I've had to get
Yeah.
the word out and things like that, and
Yeah.
explain like purpose behind it. But it's growing. It's growing a following, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Oh wow. And what was your biggest desire, for the book, and where would you really need,
So when I wrote
I guess, to make people aware of?
hire for it, it was annoying to me because, truth be told, I couldn't read when I was in school, and I think if I go back and tell my elementary school teachers that I published a book, they probably would laugh, or they'd be like, "Really?" Because I don't think that they thought of me as a stellar student. I mean, so
Yeah.
and that was the thing, was when I got this book in my mind, I just kept telling myself it was like, the that inner voice. You're not an author. You could barely read till you were, in high school, and all those things. And I was beating myself up, and I didn't want to write a book. I didn't believe that I could, and it came out, and then I realized just the need for it, and then also
Hmm.
along the way, I mean, with each of my pregnancies, I noticed that people approach in a very different way. When I was pregnant with my first child, everybody comes up to you, "Oh, you're pregnant! This is your first." They're so excited for you. I mean, strangers on the street will walk up to obviously a very pregnant woman. "You're having a baby. This is so exciting. Do you know if it's a girl or a boy?" They ask every question. They're so excited, and
Hmm.
tell them that it's your first, and they tell you how wonderful babies are, and the star and the moon, and everything is great, and it's the best gift that you could ever be given, and it's wonderful. It's true. All of those things are true. And then you go and you're pregnant with your second one, and people still approach you. I mean, they don't know, especially if I'm out by myself. They don't know. They come up to you and,
Hmm.
"Oh, you're pregnant," and they ask you all the same questions, and then they get to, "Is this your first?" And you're saying, "No, this is actually my second." And then they respond, "Oh, that's wonderful. The best gift you can give your child is a sibling." And then they just talk about how they're going to
Hmm.
be best friends, and what a beautiful family, and this. But by the time you get to your third pregnancy, people really approach
Hmm.
you in a very different way. And I was very unaware of this, and I can't tell you that I wasn't guilty of the same, because I didn't know.
Hmm.
But when you're pregnant with your third, people come up to you, especially if they see you by yourself, and they come up to you, "Is this your first?" They go through the whole thing again. You say, "No, this is my third." And it will stop most people in their tracks. And they'll actually take a step back, to look at you, to read your body language, almost as if they're
Hmm.
the strangers on the street. Did you want this, or was this like an accident, because you do know how that happens, right? Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
when
Oh,
you're excited about it, then they, oh, congratulations. And that's pretty much where it stops and they walk away because it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But
yeah.
by the time you're fourth, people are just downright rude, you know? And honestly, I wasn't that affected by it because I had said some of it myself and
Mhm.
heard times. But what had affected me was being in the grocery store and walking in the grocery
Mhm.
my 3 children. Here I am, big and pregnant. And when I was pregnant, I was huge. You couldn't miss me. So
Mhm.
people come up to me and I would be getting my groceries and people would be like, "Oh man, mom's really got her hands full. Better you than me." Just all those comments that you say.
Uh-huh.
And to me, I just brushed it off. Whatever, that's your life. This is my life. We're good. But my son, I'll never
Mhm.
forget walking out of the grocery store and he turned to me and he said, "Mom, are we bad kids?" And
Mhm.
I understand where that was coming from. And I just looked at him and said, "No, like, why would you ask that?" "Well, the people in the store, they just said that you had your hands full."
Mhm.
Dawned on me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I thought more about it because my oldest son, he's 7 years older than my youngest. And they say, lots of statistics show that anywhere between the ages of like 6 and 12, which is a wide range, but I think most of the time, pretty much ballpark, about age 8, children have their worldview formed.
Mm.
If they were not my children, what would their worldview be? Their worldview would
Mhm.
be that these babies aren't gifts, that their
Mhm.
existence is an inanimate object coming into your home to destroy
Mhm.
your nuclear family that you've already had.
Mhm.
So we have done lots of
Oh,
talking.
wow.
Our
Yeah.
brothers are a blessing and that we have to take care of each other and that this is your family. And I have a very good relationship with my brother, thank goodness. And so they can, get modeled from that, I mean, even after you're adults and you live in your own houses, you still have a good relationship. So that's
Yeah.
really and I want to, there's so many pro-lifers out there that I know that they have no ill intent, but they say those things and what's really being presented. We really have to be careful
Mhm.
of. So that's
Yeah.
where I'm my adult book is just to kind of give a different perspective and to be mindful, especially when kids are involved.
Oh, okay. So that's what your adult book's about. So the one for the children was for the child to be excited about and seeing the baby as a gift and right and
Yeah,
okay. And then for adults is to kind of paint that
be
yeah
aware of what you
better
say,
picture. Hmm.
because I
Oh
think
wow.
if you pro life and you hear this and this something that you said, because it affected me when I
Yeah.
realized
Yeah.
how my kids were interpreting it. I was devastated because I have said those things.
Yeah. Okay. Without realizing, yeah, how the effect it can have. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And just the opposite is true about children being blessing. I'm not sure if that where that verse is in Psalms. I'm sure you're familiar with it. You know where it says the children are a blessing. Was of the what does it say? The fruit of the womb is a
yes.
blessing, and then blessed is the man that has his quiver full of them. I'm probably mixing up a couple of verses there, but
As
yeah,
and
definitely.
to humans was to go forth and be fruitful.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what God created. And it's a special thing. But yeah, I know what you mean about or people giving the comments about how many children. See, we have 10 now ourselves. And then the comments I get when we find out we have 10 is they just think we're crazy. But some families I've heard that they said once you get past the 4 mark, just like you're saying, they think the 3 and then 4. Oh my, after 4, they say they already know you're crazy. So it's not a big deal. Once you say you're respecting again, they've already determined you're crazy anyways.
When are you gonna be babysitting?
After a bit. Might want to go in the house. Sorry.
Yeah. So
um,
you don't
uh,
say anything worse after 4. You think four is the most?
yeah, that's what I've kind of heard. They think at that point, but yeah, but no. Yeah, children, yeah, are definitely a blessing,
What
and
I have to remind
you know,
myself and I remind everybody is I have never heard anybody, and I don't think that I ever will hear anybody say like, "Man, I really wish I would have stopped at, 2. I really wish I would have stopped at, 5." When you talk to people, especially later
mhm,
when they are contemplating like the things that are really important in life, the one thing I always hear
mhm,
is, "God, I wish we would have had more kids. I wish we would have had
mhm,
I wish we would have." I never hear I wish we didn't have,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, no. No, I've never heard of that, no. People always have the regret that they've done, measures to prevent, and then they will do reversals and all these things to undo these things that they've, yeah, done because they feel that, that conviction and also, yeah, for sure, like you said, so, yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, it is inside. I've heard it in the church too, where it's looked down on to have very many children. That you want to have exactly planned if you program, how many children you're going to have and when you're having and everything else. Yeah, instead of
Yeah.
just trusting God and in that.
I
Yeah.
think it's down to just our society and how everything's kind of really shifted. I mean, I'm not going to say it's easy not, to have a big family now. It's not easy. Things are not set up
Mhm,
for big families. I mean,
mhm.
family of 6, family of 12. I mean, a family of 6. I mean, even for us to go to a hotel. I mean, it's not
Oh
set
yeah.
up. Very few options. I mean, for us, we more than
Hmm.
often just rent a house because it winds up being better for us. Often
Hmm.
cheaper. A lot of times we'll have to go to hotel rooms.
Yeah,
We have
that's what we've done.
a
Now
house,
our traveling we've done too. Yeah.
the washing machine and the dryer, and we cook in the house because eating out is expensive.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it changes up how you do things, but but still,
But social norm, I guess. I mean, I had to
mhm,
reteach myself, and I have met other large families that have taught me some tricks of the trade because, yeah, again, I mean, we were just a family of 4 growing up. It was just me and my brother. So, and I've had to learn to ask
okay.
for, some other help at school activities and things like that when I'm trying to go 4 different ways. And, I mean, I've had
Mhm,
to do that. Whereas my parents, it was just me and my brother. They could go to everything. It's
mhm.
it's just different.
No, for
Just
sure. Yeah, it is different, but it's just worth it all. I mean, I wouldn't do it, any different. I'm the youngest of 9, and I knew that I wanted a big family, God willing, and so now I'm a mom of 10, and I didn't know I'd have more than my mom, but yeah, but it's a challenge when you get all the ages. I think when you do have children closer together, and then you go through all the stages kind of at once, and. But my oldest is 23, will be 24 here this summer, and then my baby will be 2 in the summer. So they're
oh,
pretty spread out children, but it's amazing, amazing family, and um, really grateful for God to God, and yeah.
that's amazing.
uh, So, what else did you really want to be able to share to other women in this, or just kind of to bring out, make aware of anything?
I think my big thing is the pro-life thing right now, just being
Yeah.
aware of, being aware too of what we're Hi. This is
Uh,
George.
so you've got one joining you now. I had one little one in here, but she's gone out now. Yeah.
Uh, and I guess be aware of what values you're instilling in your children, be aware of what they're watching, what they're reading. And I don't say that you should, I guess, put them in a bubble, but I think, you need to have those conversations. I used
Yeah.
to hear from some other moms. I don't know if you ever saw the TV show Horrid Henry. I think it's a British
Mm.
TV show, Horrid
Oh,
Henry,
okay.
about a little boy, and he just always was getting in trouble. He was very curious and always getting in trouble, and so they would call him Horrid Henry because he was horrid, caused all kinds of problems.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
heard a lot, "Oh, I don't want my child watching that." I used to sit down and watch it with my children because we would talk through some of those things,
Yeah.
use those negative social experiences to discuss, the situation and, why was it bad, and start getting them to have that inner conversation. You know, should I really make this
Mhm.
really the best choice? So I think be aware of what we're sharing with our children, and don't shelter them from everything. Of course you have to protect them. They were given to us from God, and that's our number one job. So number one job,
Mhm.
moms, dads, we're there to protect them. But part of protecting them is also making them aware. So,
Yeah,
um,
by making them aware, yeah,
they,
what's out there, and, um, we I'm sorry, we are to guard their hearts and their minds,
yes,
um, but they also gotta kind of beware learn and then know how to do that on their own too, and differentiate between what's right and what's wrong and what is, pleasing to God, and a better way to do
yeah.
things, so,
So I think we
yeah.
have to. I'm very open with my kids too. I mean, they know a lot of what's going on. I mean, of course, I'm not going to share everything with them, but if
Mhm.
something happens, I may try and find a socially appropriate way to, for their age, what they can express, especially as elections come up and all everybody's feelings get so
Mm.
intense, and just trying to talk about how, I mean, this is how, mom and dad feel, this is how this other person may feel, and it's okay that we all have different opinions, because we need to learn
Mhm.
to have that's gone. That's gone.
Mhm.
We need to learn to have difference of opinions again and respect each other's opinions. So we talk about those things. We talk about um when we see other things happen with other kids out on the park or wherever, and my kids are like, oh man, that kid's really throwing a temper tantrum or whatever, so what, they're just having a hard moment. We just need to give them, we all have it, and kind of just remind them that
Mhm.
been there too, you know
Yeah.
shaming,
Yeah.
not finding the negative in everything, because there's a positive. There's
Mhm.
positive in all of it, and we just need to learn from it.
Yeah, so to learn to treat others with love and r respect, and yeah.
And that's when we have our meltdown, we need to regroup,
Yeah.
reconnect it back. So it's just kind of
Yeah.
expect everybody goes through that. And sometimes I need that reminder when my kid is having their temper tantrum somewhere, and that this is normal. Just take deep breath. Me
Yeah.
and my child. So because
Yeah.
sometimes I have a hard time too. My reaction, my gut reaction is stop crying. Stop screaming.
Yeah.
No, that's what I want to say, but I have to remind myself it's not the best. So
Yeah. But, yeah, I know it is hard, it is a lot of challenges as a mother, and, yeah, to rein in all those little things and the emotions of a child, and when they, kind of get out of control with their emotions, but you just gotta help them and be the example, but like you said.
so I actually have another ministry. It's called Purposefully Parent.
Okay.
It's just a Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
Thing is to find ways, I share other people's videos, I share my stories of things that have happened with my family, um, and just about being purposeful in our parenting and being present. And that doesn't mean that
Oh,
every single minute you're, doing something with your child, because that's just not feasibly possible. I don't know how you do laundry, because I mean, I cannot keep up on laundry. My laundry is ridiculous. So I just can't be with them playing a game, everything in it. But there's ways to go about it. Sometimes um I will be doing my laundry and I'll be folding clothes. I fold my clothes on my bed. And, my oldest son will come and sit with me and, tell me about something that happened in his day as he sits down and folds some clothes that he can fold. Um, there was one time where one of the kids went with a friend to an activity after school, and they were passing by where we take swimming lessons, and my child said, "Oh, look, like that's where I take swimming lessons." And the friend said,
mhm,
"Oh yeah, I need to take some swimming lessons too, or I want to take swimming lessons too." And my child said, "Oh, well, you're not going to be able to swim across the pool if you weigh 200 pounds." and
Uh-huh.
I was devastated. Um, but I loved how the mother of my son's friend handled it, and it was a real eye opener to me. And she didn't tell me that night. She took care of it in the moment, and she didn't tell me that night.
Mhm.
Couple nights later, we saw each other at another event, and she actually came up to my husband. I wasn't there. She came up to my
Mhm.
husband and she explained the situation. And she goes, "I don't want to be in trouble. I just wanted to let you know what happened." And then my husband tells me, and I'm devastated, and I call her and I'm crying and I'm so sorry. That's not how we're raising him. And so I'm going through this whole sob story, and she stops me and she says, "Stephanie, I didn't tell you this because I want you to be upset or because I think that you're a bad
Mhm.
mom, that I think that your son is bad. She said, I told you this because that I parented your child. I didn't want you to think that I was just yelling at him. I didn't yell at him. We had a conversation about it."
Mhm.
And she goes, "And I know where this is coming from. It actually was coming from a situation that was going on at school with several kids in the class." And
Mhm.
he said, "I just wanted you to know what had happened and that how I handled it." And that was such an eye-opening moment to me. It was very humbling,
Mhm.
that children are not going to be perfect everywhere and that they are affected by other things, that surround them. But that was one of the things that I shared on my post is, what? I'm not a perfect mother.
Mhm.
There's no way to be a perfect mother. My son did have a comment that I'm not proud of, but I reaffirmed in that I have surrounded myself and my family with other families that, are going to help us along the way. And it's okay. It's okay.
Mhm.
So just
Yeah.
sharing that, I mean, they're not my proudest moments, but,
Mhm.
it was a learning experience for me and it just made me better. I think it made me better as a mother. It made me better as, another mother in the group of, raising our kids together because it takes a village.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Community and just others and yeah, and their failings. Yeah. Yeah. No, our kids have commented things that are like similar where you gotta own it, catch them and talk to them, but they just don't. I guess they just put the first thing that goes in their head, and so yeah, yeah, it's the way it is. Learn and grow. Yeah. Well, that's nice. Is there kind of anything else that you would want to share with us?
Not that I can think
Yeah.
of.
So, okay, so you were telling about that was a Facebook group.
Yes.
Do you have okay when you okay? All right. So any of the ministries and stuff that you do, I can get your links and everything here after.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Oh, you okay? You're still there? Okay. Yeah, we can get the links and I'll put all that in the description after so that others can so they can find you now your book too. So we can give you a link to your book.
Great, thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really enjoyed you sharing about your children's books and just that your heart for that and um, the need out there for all of us to be more aware of the way we respond and the way we see life uh, that God has given us because it is a special gift,
Yes.
life and just life in itself. I mean, a new life in the womb, but life every day that we have life, our lives are miracles, and each day that we're given here on earth is a very special gift. And I know it's sometimes, don't always see it that way. It's hard to see it that way, but
Yes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
true.
yeah. So yeah. So what was the name of your adults book now that you have?
My adult book, I actually am still thinking of the name.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Right.
it was still
I
really
have
in the works then.
Yeah, so I have most of the manuscript written. It's in the editing process. But I'm kind of toying with I haven't committed to a title yet.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good. So, yeah, still in the works. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah. Is there anything, final words that you want to say or share before we close our time together?
I think just to be mindful of, how you approach children and how you approach pregnant women, and that your
Yeah.
values are really coming through in what you do with your daily life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that happens to them just maybe them feeling guilty themselves, or you're almost like judging if they, have stopped at one or two what is called the perfect family, right? And maybe that's why it comes across, but for sure, I mean, just to be, they're not the one having it, so if they don't feel that they want to do it, that's fine. But it's, just to build to um,
Be
brace and be
aware and
positive.
make sure
Hmm.
that it may not have been for you, but I mean, if you are pro life, you really need to be aware of what you're saying.
Hmm. Yeah.
If you're pro life, if you claim to be pro life and you are, oh man, mom's really got her hands full, or oh, wow, you really know how that happens, right? Are you really pro life? You are continuing to promote that in your
Yeah.
daily life.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Okay. Well, I thank you again for your time with me and with the book you've written for the children and for the adults book coming out soon. So,
Ew.
um, yeah, so, people will look up your stuff, and I just wish you all the best in your future writing.
Thank
And
you so much.
okay, take care, and all the best to your mothering.
Thank you. Bye.